We are all familiar with W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington's contradictory opinions regarding public education. W.E.B. Du Bois emerged at the turn of the century with empowering ideas that spread rapidly through African American society. Du Bois was sure African Americans could do better, and that was reflected through his educational philosophy. He believed in high achievement in classical education was key for African Americans to dig themselves out of the dirt and prove their equality to whites. Booker T. Washington, on the other hand, advocated for a more practical view. Public education, in his eyes, should provide the working class with the basic skills necessary to provide for their families. Washington opened the Tuskegee Institute to educate African Americans in specific trades, vocations, that could provide them with solid, steady jobs. At the turn of the 20th century, Booker T. Washington's proposed industrial education was more popular for African Americans than W.E.B. Du Bois' ideas for classical education. Skills remained the dominant type for African American education to the middle of the 20th century. In the early 1950s, the Texas Association of New Farmers in America opened 178 vocational schools for African Americans. The overwhelming poverty of the African American race as a whole was somewhat a contributing factor to the rise of this type of education, since learning a trade provided a quicker and easier access to a living wage than having a classical education did, especially as job discrimination kept blacks in more industrial fields. However, vocational education reached its prime during the reign of Jim Crow laws, when white supremacists worked to prevent blacks from becoming job competition. Technical education for African Americans were far more favored among the white American population, and this type of public school could potentially help to maintain the white supremacy. Whites wanted to keep blacks out of positions of power, and the easiest way to do so would be to hold them their working class statuses.
The fears of white supremacists became a reality when a 1954 Brown versus Board of Education case took place, and it was ruled that education would be integrated. African Americans were integrated into formerly white schools that provided their pupils with college preparatory education. By 1967, the amount of African Americans teaching vocational agriculture declined by 20% since 1954. This was in part due to the Brown versus Board of Education ruling, but it was also a result of W.E.B. Du Bois' popularity coming to play once again. African Americans felt empowered and able to compete with whites in the same highly academic fields of work. Pushing college preparatory education for African Americans became a defense against oppression. This eventually led to the extreme popularization of college preparatory education among all races. According to The Economist, in 1982, one-third of high school students specialized in the industry. By 2005, the amount of high school students specialized in industry had decreased to one-fifth. In 2009, 87% of high school credits were non-vocational, according to the National Center for Education Statistics. America wanted to prove its education system by pushing higher education for everyone. Vocational education was becoming increasingly viewed as a method of stereotyping and discrimination. Trade schools were, in the eyes of the public, suddenly unworthy and were only for the incapable students. Making a living as a plumber was frowned upon, and becoming a college professor was rewarded. Our nation started to encourage everyone to pursue higher education in order to show their worth. Public schools focused on college preparatory education in order to compete with other nations and to provide so-called equal opportunity for all. Is college preparatory education working for the American people in providing that equal opportunity? According to a study by Demos, an average student debt burden for a dual-headed household with bachelor's degree from four-year universities, $53,000, led to a lifetime wealth loss of nearly $208,000. Hardly anyone earns the jobs they prepare for or deserve after college. College preparatory education is only effective in providing employment opportunities for a specific segment of the American population. There are simply not enough academic jobs for everyone, and pushing everyone into college is generally not helping the economic status of the individual.
To Nancy Hoffman in her book Schooling in the Workplace, Switzerland has an educational system that splits classroom time and workplace apprenticeships during the final 2 years of high school. Hoffman told The Nation the United States has a 22% youth unemployment rate right now, compared to a 5% youth unemployment rate in the Netherlands and Switzerland. As a country, we must take measures that create options for vocational education and skills training in order to provide more opportunity for low-income and minority youth. Therefore, without providing more vocational and skill studies education, we are and will continue hurting the American people by failing to prepare our youth for their futures. In 1969, Sandy Weill's National Academy Foundation launched a Career Academies program that incorporated skills training into an academic curriculum. According to MDRC, a nonprofit, nonpartisan education and social policy research organization, the college attainment did not rise relative to a control group, but career academies did boost students' earnings by 11%. We can gather from this information that preparing every single student for a college education does not promote equality. If the same amount of students tried to get into college when skills training was provided, but the students earned more as a group, neglecting to provide skills training to students can keep students out of jobs and prevent youth from earning more money. We learn from this that college truly is not for everyone, and it would be unfair to say so. Education has evolved since Booker T. Washington and W.E.B. Du Bois' popularity, for better and for worse. Some will greatly succeed under the system currently in place that mimics W.E.B. Du Bois' philosophy, while others will be left behind as they are pushed into fields that they are not suited for. We must create a system that caters to the needs of everyone. Our public education must provide a range of different education types that fall under the teachings of both W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington at the same time. Education is certainly not one size fits all, and treating it as if it is will reduce the success rates of young people in America.